All right. So I'm going to upload something I'm calling a vagrant vlog in a minute. But first, I want to try to freestyle a video talking to Candace Owens. I would love to talk to Candace Owens. I would love it if you interview me and I interview you back. I used to like Candace Owens. And by like Candace Owens, I mean I used to watch her every day and I used to spread her content. When she first started talking, I was so hopeful. I was like, wow, is this the black conservative spokesperson that I've been waiting for my whole life? She's articulate, she's polished, she presents herself in a pretty, non-threatening way. And even though I never agreed with her, because our black conservatives, our black conservatism comes from very different areas. She's very entertaining. However, I've made so many predictions about Candace Owens and they've all come true. Now, I'm no Nostradamus or anything like that, but I've been a few places. I've seen a few things. I've seen a few Candace Owens in my lifetime, from the cradle to the grave. And now I get to watch Candace Owens. And now it's inevitable. We're going to be on the same team, Candace. Candace Owens has 3 black children. And she's going to have a 4th child soon. Mostly boys. Mostly boys. You're going to have black boys. And you have a black boy. You have a black 4-year-old that's your oldest. And now you have to experience 5 years old. Things are getting wild now. I don't know much about you. Is your kid in daycare? Does he go to a mostly white school? I'm sure he does. Will he have to navigate this and that going to a white school? You're raising him to be straight. I know this. I watch you. And, all parents raise their children to be straight. It's just like, natural. It's the common sense thing. And now that you have a straight black boy as your child, you're starting to realize some things. You're starting to realize he's going to be a black man. And it doesn't matter. Hell, it doesn't matter if he's gay. It doesn't matter if he's straight. But you are thinking about this stuff. And now he's going to go from being an innocent, sweet, cute baby boy. There's certain universal things here in America that all black men face. We were all at one point innocent, little baby black boys. What type of black man is he going to grow up to be? These are questions you're asking yourself now. And like I said, I don't know if he's in daycare, and I don't know if he's homeschooled. Now, me, I'm against homeschooling. It's not fair to the kid. You want to socialize, and socializing is hard, especially as a young black male. And a straight black male. Look, I'm not trying to put anybody else down. I'm not trying to minimize anybody else's experiences or anybody's personal truths or anything like that. But reality is reality. And sometimes reality smacks you right in the face. And you're going to get smacked in the face by reality a lot in the upcoming years. Not only do you got all these boys, but you got them in the same age range. 10 years from now, you're going to walk into the grocery store with 3 young black males, like what Tupac was rapping about. You used to say that Jay-Z was your favorite rapper. So I'm guessing that means that money is so much more important to you than many other things. Because Jay-Z never really cared much about anything besides himself and his money. He wanted that power. You want power. And you had power. And you fumbled it. You got used by so many people, but it's okay. You was using people, politically speaking. You had a political agenda. And now, as Godfrey and Paul Mooney like to tell that joke, you've gotten your, I can't do a Paul Mooney impression. I'm not even finna try. But Paul Mooney used to talk about this nigger wake-up call. Black people who want to be accepted and embraced by white culture, they get this wake-up call where it's like, they used to tell me that they love me because I'm not like the rest of them. But, you got fired by Ben Shapiro for being anti-Semitic. And you don't even know what that word means, anti-Semitic. I mean, hell, I'm Semitic and I don't even know what that word means. Because I'm black. I'm black first. I'm black last. I was born black and I'm gonna die black. If you peel my skin off of me like with a potato peeler to the white meat, I'm still black. No matter what, I'm black. I'll always be black. I'm proud of that and I'm thankful for that. But I was raised like that. I was raised to be proud, you know. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. That was one of my favorite children's songs. And some people don't like that. Some people like you will refer to that as black supremacy. Well, at least you used to. But now you might be tempted to play that song for your children. I recommend that you play that song for your children. You need to start teaching those little black boys that they are black. See, here's the funny thing about us black children. And by black, I'm talking about black Americans. You know, some people say that black people can't be racist. And there's a lot of truth to that. Because I'm a black man. And who can I be racist to? I could show you my ancestry test. That's something new that exists these days. I'm as mixed could get. But I already knew that. I knew that. It's probably one of the reasons my mom named me Diego. So that I never forget. You know, I'm black on the outside. I never forget that. I'm raised around black people. I'll never forget that I'm black. And I love being black. But I need to also remember that I'm part Spanish. And that helped me in life. It helped me. It helped me realize, and it also helped me get teased. I grew up around black people, and black people used to tease me for being part Spanish, or being part Jewish, or being whatever else. But it really was harmless and friendly. They didn't make me feel or think that they was gonna beat me up and jump me because I was part Spanish. Hell, I'm not the only mixed brother around. We all mixed. As an African American, especially growing up in Chicago, we know. First of all, Chicago was founded by a black Frenchman. And we're taught that in schools. We're taught that Chicago was never a slave city or a slave state. If there were ever slaves passing through Chicago, Chicagoans would try to free them. Just like in Boston, they was liberating the tea. Chicago is very proud of its history of always being on the abolition side. Always. Like most places in America. Most places in America, slavery was never accepted. It was outlawed. It was fought by the rebels. Maybe Native Americans. Maybe escaped slave. Maybe the Europeans that were always against slavery and running away from slavery. And they'll die before they accept any form of slavery, even indentured servitude. America was never mostly slave. America was mostly anti-slave from the beginning to the end. However, those that were into slavery, they had a lot of power. They had a lot of people. When they were debating about if blacks should be allowed to vote, it was the slave masters who wanted the slaves to vote because they controlled that vote. Let me see how you voting, boy. But anyway, let's get back to Candace Owens and the fact that one of these days you're going to have black male teenage boys. And you've set up a world. You painted yourself into a corner. Think of all the things you said about blacks and black males and black community. Now you are the black community. There's never been a such thing as the black community in America. The black community in Hattiesburg, Mississippi has never been like the black community in Chicago, Illinois. The black community in New York City has never been like the black community in Sacramento, California. The black community in Tulsa, Oklahoma was never like the black community in Selma, Alabama. Hell, the black community in Selma, Alabama is nothing like the black community in Birmingham, Alabama. Black community in Chicago, Illinois is nothing like the black community in Springfield, Illinois. You know, there's no such thing in America as the black community or the white community. We're a very large country. It's different geographically, it's different culturally. You go from one Walmart to another, they're going to sell different things. You go to the ethnic aisle in your grocery store, no matter if it's the same grocery store, it's going to look different, no matter where you go. And you're going to realize something. I realized something many times in life, and I talk about it. None of my videos are popular, but I talk about that experience of what it's like to go from being a little cute black boy that everybody's like, oh, to the teenage years where everybody's like, huh, to becoming a large black male to where it's like, oh. Now, I listen to and I watch the red pill content. You know, it's funny how this world is. Some people do whatever it takes to attract as much attention as possible. Some people go out of their way to try to avoid as much attention as possible. Attention is cool when it's positive, but even that could get overwhelming. Think about what it's like to be a celebrity. We have words like sympathy, and we have words like empathy. They're similar, but they're not the same. You need both of them to be human. I don't care if you're male or female. You should have some sympathy for other people. You should have empathy for other people. Empathy comes from here. Sympathy comes from here. It's all about walking a mile in another person's shoes or feeling another person's pain. In this red pill world where they categorize things, black earth is like this and white is like this, male is like this and female is like this. You all claim to be people of the book, claim to be Christians. You claim to follow the example of Christ. Christ was empathetic. Christ was sympathetic. But according to the red pill world, sympathy is a feminine thing. And what is sympathy? Sympathy is like I can feel your pain. You tell me a story and I can feel your pain so much that I start to emote. I can start to cry. Oh. Empathy is considered a more masculine trait. I can understand your pain and I'm going to come up with some solutions and help you out. Empathy. Now, I didn't define that properly. Let's get Google to define it. Hey, Google, clarify the difference between sympathy and empathy.
Sympathy and empathy are both feelings of concern for others, but they differ in their depth of understanding and emotional engagement. Here's a breakdown of the key distinctions. Sympathy. Definition. Sympathy involves feeling compassion, sorrow, or pity for someone else's misfortune. It's an acknowledgement of their suffering and a sense of concern. Perspective. You understand someone's emotions from your own perspective. You feel for them. Emotional distance. Sympathy often involves a degree of emotional distance. You recognize their pain, but don't necessarily share their feelings. Response. Sympathetic responses often involve offering condolences, expressing sorrow, or providing help from your own viewpoint. It can sometimes involve offering advice or trying to find solutions. Example. Hearing about a friend losing their job and saying, "Oh, that's terrible. I feel so bad for you. Let me know if you need anything." Empathy. Definition. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. It involves putting yourself in their shoes and experiencing the world from their perspective. Perspective. You strive to understand their emotions from their perspective. you feel with them. Emotional engagement. Empathy involves a deeper emotional connection. You try to imagine and understand what they might be feeling. Response. Empathetic responses focus on validating the other person's feelings, offering support, and creating a safe space for them to express themselves. It's more about understanding and connecting than immediately solving the problem. Example. Hearing about a friend losing their job and saying, "That sounds incredibly stressful and upsetting. It's understandable that you'd feel," name the emotion. I'm here to listen if you want to talk about it. Here's a table summarizing the key differences. Feature: sympathy, empathy, feeling, feeling for someone, feeling with someone, perspective, your own perspective, the other person's perspective, emotional distance, more distant, more connected, understanding, recognizing their suffering, sharing and understanding their feelings, response focus, offering condolences, help from your view, validating feelings, offering support, listening. In essence, sympathy acknowledges someone's pain, while empathy attempts to understand and share that pain. Empathy often fosters a deeper connection because it involves a genuine effort to see the world through another person's eyes.
Okay, I'm gonna need you to be brief, but I want you to quickly break down why sympathy is considered feminine and empathy is considered masculine.
It's a harmful oversimplification and a gender stereotype to broadly categorize sympathy as feminine and empathy as masculine. Here's why this association exists in some societal thinking, but why it's inaccurate and limiting. Why sympathy is sometimes, stereotypically, seen as feminine. Nurturing stereotypes. Traditional gender roles often cast women.
Okay, I said be brief, and it didn't make it brief, so I'm gonna just read the summary in short, the last paragraph. In short, the association of sympathy with femininity and empathy with masculinity is a product of outdated and restrictive gender stereotypes, not inherent differences between genders. Both capacities are vital for healthy human connections and can be expressed by anyone regardless of their gender. Oh my goodness. Go, go. Oh, anyway. But either way it go, like I said initially, these are both human experiences, human emotions, human capabilities, and human strengths. If you can't be sympathetic, that's not anything to be proud of. That shows a lack of cognitive ability, even though it's an emotional thing. And the same with empathy. If you're not empathetic, that's an extreme weakness. You can't understand somebody else's pain. You can't cognate somebody else's pain. You see that Siri basically said the same thing I said, but made it a lot longer. Empathy is understanding. Sympathy is feeling. Just to make it short. But back to Candace Owens. Now, I'm sure she wouldn't watch a long video like this. She makes long videos, but does she watch long videos? Now, Candace, you should watch this. Again, I'm a black man. I had that experience. I'm not going to talk much about myself and my mother right now and right here, but I will talk about you and these little black boys you got. More and more, reality's going to hit you. These little half and half boys, they're black boys. No matter how you fight that, no matter how you deny that, no matter how you try to repress or recess that inside of them, they're black males. And they're going to, no matter what kind of school you have them go to, especially if they're going to be straight. And statistically, real soon you're going to have 4 children, 3 of them boys. And I mean, what are the chances that at least one of them ain't going to be straight? Chances are all 3 are, statistically speaking, all 3 of them are going to be straight. And it's no telling with you because you are unique, you are different, and you talk about these things all the time. And not only are you a public figure, but you like in this reality realm. What if they watch your content What if the kids that they go to school with watch their content? When you're a little boy, you know, you don't like people talking about your mama 9 times out of 10. But you're a strange kind of celebrity. Not only are they going to talk about their mama, they're going to be watching their mama's content. And people going to question them about that. And the black community is forgiving and welcoming. Even though you people, and by you people, I mean you and your husband, y'all have made a profit out of denigrating the black community and painting us into the stereotype as if all black people and all black communities are the same. And you made it seem like every black community was basically all of the black movies that you've seen wrapped in one. And you was listening to Jay-Z, and who knows what black movies you was watching. You're a chick, so I'm guessing you don't, I've dated black women like you in a lot of ways. And from dating these women, you don't really like slave movies, and I don't get it. I don't get people who don't like slave movies, especially black people. Black people who don't like slave movies, yes, it's ugly. Yes, it's brutal. But we enjoy brutal stuff. You listen to gangster rap all day, every day, but you got a problem with slave movies, especially ones that are historically accurate. As a matter of fact, the more historically accurate it is, okay, that's a beam of sunlight, but the more historically accurate it is, the more you don't like it. There's that beam of sunlight coming from the right. But anyway, and again, I just don't get it. I can't relate. I am part Jewish, and same thing exists within the Jewish community. I was about to start saying some weird stuff. I was about to say all Jews like Jewish historical movies. No, that's not true. Some Jews hate it just like some blacks hate slave movies. Some Jews hate Holocaust movies. They think it's overdone, and it really bothers them that that's all you think of. But again, that points to the humanity of it all. Not all black people like slave movies. Not all black people can stomach slave movies. Not all black people like gangster rap. Not all, as a matter of fact, most. If you like rap, you probably like certain genres and you probably dislike other genres. That's a guess. That's me projecting right there. But I've been listening to rap my whole life. It's my favorite genre, but it's also my least favorite genre. If I really, really love an artist, there's a good chance he's a rapper. If I really, really hate an artist, it's a good chance that he sings rock and roll. I mean, country. I don't know. I'm being sarcastic in a lot of ways here, but also I'm being serious. Candace Owens, your oldest kid is about to be 5. That's kindergarten age. That's an interesting age. And listening to this red pill stuff, I realized that, not all black males had the same experience I had. Even within my city, I was born and raised in Chicago. And I'm on Facebook. I'm active on Facebook. I think of my kindergarten teacher. I don't think of her often, but let's talk about her. Miss Cooper. I hated Miss Cooper. Miss Cooper hated me. At least that's the way it seems. I remember arguments that Miss Cooper would have with my mother right in front of me. I was special education. And I wasn't special education in kindergarten. I mean, it started, but it didn't really start till first grade. And even in first grade, it didn't really start. In first grade, I would just have to leave the class and go to certain classes. I have to go to speech therapy. I have to go to therapy. I have to go talk to a psychiatrist. I have to, I didn't actually get put into a separate special education class until I left that school. If I would have stayed at that magnet school, things would have been different. Special education worked really good for me because academically, I was faster, I was quicker, and I could always leave the classroom because I was special education. Finish classroom, get help, blah, 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 blah. I always considered my, whatever they want to call it, my behavioral disorder, I always considered it I never thought of it a disability. I never thought of it as a disorder. Especially looking back as a child, I could look at these adults and I'm watching them talk about me, and they even say that I'm smart, but they still talk in front of me as if I'm not sitting there absorbing, recording, cataloging. And I understand it better than you because I've been here for every discussion about Diego. And when you give my mom paperwork about me, I'm going to read that paperwork and I'm going to think about it. So I've been reading and studying psychology since I was 5 years old. Seriously. But nobody takes me seriously. That's okay. I live for and I believe in God. Um, and that's all that matters. I do want to talk about Bible study. I want to have a Bible study. I want to do all that later in the future. But I'm not ready, clearly. But Candace Owens, we should have a conversation because I need to warn you. I don't even care about you, to be honest with you. But I do care about your children. It's not fair to those black boys. A lot of things that you've done and that you said, you set them up for failure, man. In the Bible, my favorite book is Proverbs. No question, no doubt about that. I mean, the whole Bible is my favorite, but Proverbs, that's the one book I read over and over again. And I even tried to read Proverbs on this YouTube channel, but it didn't go anywhere. And you know, what's the point of me reading Proverbs? You should read it for yourself. It's the book of wisdom. It's like doing push-ups or sit-ups. They used to encourage me to read a chapter of Proverbs a day. There are 31 chapters of Proverbs, and a lot of months have 31 days. And even the months that don't have 31 days, well, hey, man, just read a little bit extra. It's only a couple of books, and you're going to get some favorite Proverbs. You're going to get some favorite Proverbs if you read the book of Proverbs. But the book of Proverbs has one Proverbs about how the traps you set are going to be the traps you fall into. You know, you set traps for others, you'll fall into them yourselves. And this is where you're at. You painted this world where black males, if they fail, it's not society's fault. There's no systematic racism. You said this over and over again. Systematic racism doesn't exist. You also said all these things about Obama. And I've watched you. You were never really a conservative in a political sense. You didn't argue like a conservative. You sounded like an angry feminist spouting conservative talking points. And oftentimes conservative talking points that I just didn't understand. When I think of conservative, I think of the old definition, the real definition, reserved, old-fashioned, yes, but old-fashioned in like the biblical sense. Not old-fashioned wishing that we could return to the old antebellum Southern days. Speaking of dating a woman like Candace Owens, I fell in love with a woman a lot like Candace Owens. Not a lot, some similarities. They both talk very similar. They're not from the same place, but their accent sounds similar. You're from Connecticut. Candace Owens is from Connecticut. This woman I dated is from Texas. But they both sounded like they was from California. Like, oh my God, I'm from California. I'm a valley girl. I'm a valley girl in the valley world. Like, oh my God, Becky, why do you not talk? You do not have a Southern accent. And you, Candace, you do not have a Northeastern accent. Like, where does this come from? Oh my God. But anyway, I'm from Chicago. But I fell in love with this dark-skinned, gorgeous chick in the South. And when I first met her, you know, I don't know if I asked her what her favorite movie was or how it came up, but it came up that her favorite movie was Gone with the Wind. And when she first said it, I just laughed heartily because I thought she was joking. You know, you ask a black girl, what's your favorite movie? And she said, Gone with the Wind. And I just laughed. You so crazy, girl. Girl, you so crazy. Going with the wind. Get the fuck. She said go with the wind. Oh my God. But as I'm over here dying laughing, I look over her at her and she has like this horrified look on her face. And I'm like, oh my God, you're serious. Wait a second. Okay, so wait, I've never seen Go with the Wind. I'm about 23 years old. And I'm like, I've never seen Going with the Wind, but I've read about it a lot of times. Isn't this that racist movie that glorifies slavery and kind of like demonizes black people and like elevates white people? Like, what am I missing about Going with the Wind? And, I've never seen it, but I've read about it many, many times. So anyway, I'm looking at her and so we talk about it and it was a funny conversation. I'm not laughing though because I'm really trying to understand. So anyway, she convinces me to watch Gone with the Wind. We're going to watch it together one day. So anyway, me and this girl start dating and eventually we start living together. And then we're living together. And one of our activities was getting those videos, getting VHSs. I'm pretty sure it was VHSs. It might have been DVDs, but I'm pretty sure it was still VHSs. Anyway, we get Gone with the Wind. And even when I rented it, I'm renting it from a place that I rent movies from all the time. And he's like, man, you sure you know what this is, man? And I was like, I'm about to find out. So anyway, we go back and by this time, me and this girl was dating. And by this time, I was in love with her. It was one of those situations where it was like love in first sight. When I was a young man, between like the ages of 15 and 25, love in first sight, I used to enjoy that. Have these whirlwind romances. I'm deeply in love with this girl for, hell, might only last a week or two because she might say something that completely disgusts me and just, I don't ever want to see you again, or vice versa. So anyway, me and this girl, though, we are in for it the long haul. And so I watch Gone with the Wind, but I'm watching it in a very receptive way. I'm watching it with a girl that's actually darker. Her skin is darker than mine, and she's from the South. And now I live in the South. So, I'm watching it. I'm trying to have my mind as open as possible, my heart as open as possible. And I'm watching the film and I'm watching her, and Gone with the Wind is long. And thankfully it has an intermission. But anyway, I am trying to understand, and I think I am, and not think I'm understanding. I get it. I get what she's saying. And we discussed it even further over the years. But I do remember asking her, who do you identify with in this movie? You know what I'm saying? Like, who do you identify with in this movie? Like, I'm watching the movie and I'm just tripping. The movie flabbergasted me. It blew my mind. And, after watching the movie, it didn't become my favorite movie, but I'm glad I watched it. And I see how people see it as a love story. I see how it's romantic to some people. And still to this day, I have so many questions about Going with the Wind. Is it a pro-slavery movie? Is it an anti-slavery movie? Is it satirical? Is it serious? One of the problems with satire is that oftentimes the satirist, the person who created this art, it can have the negative consequences. It can have the negative effect. And you got to be careful with satire. You could end up building a fan base of people who just see the surface message. The people that you're making fun of become your biggest fans because they don't really get the underlying joke and the underlying narrative. Gone with the Wind is a great example. Descendants of slaves don't love typically. Descendants of slaves don't love Gone with the Wind, but the people who feel like they're part of the lost cause, who wish that things could go back to being slave. That's what slavery, once you're Gone with the Wind, you want to be a slave master. Now, I did watch Gone with the Wind, and I can't get too deep into it. I'm not going to talk personally about it, man. Maybe I'll react. Maybe me and this woman can react to that video one day. But further about that, Gone with the Wind, it led to so much other stuff. It led to the racist country music outbreak that I talked about in the previous video. David Allen Coe. He's a famous and popular country singer. And the first country album that he made that he got popular with was an album called X-Rated. And on X-Rated, he has my favorite country song. Well, my favorite country song is probably by Willie Nelson or Kenny Rogers. I really like The Gambler. I really like Willie Nelson. I like The Gambler by Kenny, or performed by Kenny Rogers. I like Willie Nelson. So many Willie Nelson songs. Probably my favorite Willie Nelson song is "You're Always on My Mind." But however, my favorite country song, especially like in a funny way, a playful way, an intellectual way, a way for discussion. Hey, I didn't see you got a kid walking behind you. Oh, excuse me. Maybe I should edit that out. Maybe I should watch that. But anyway, I need to stop. Focus. Focus, young man. Where was we at? Oh, my favorite song, sort of. The song I want to talk about the most. It's already on my YouTube channel, and I might get deleted for it. But David Allen Coe, man, he made that song "Nigger Fucker." That song "Nigger Fucker." It's an old country song, man, and it go a little something like this. She said someday I'd understand what love was all about. She said I could have the kids, but she's moving out. Said she finally found a man whose dick was so much bigger than that scumbag motherfucker ran off with a nigger. And I think I ate the pussy where that big black dick had been, and kissed the lips and sucked him off time and time again. Well, it's enough to make a man throw up. It sure is hard to figure how any decent girl could ever fuck a greasy nigger. That's David Allen Coe's song called "Nigger Fucker." And I've talked to some people about that. And it's so funny. I've actually had white people tell me to their face, to my face, that David Allen Coe was one of their favorite country singer. And then I bring up that song "Nigger Fucker." And then all of a sudden, they gotta go. The conversation ends right there. Hey, boy. There's more to that song. And I think I sang that verse right. And if I did, whoa, think about that. Now, David Allen Coe claims that he's not a racist. He claims that that song might be satirical. And it might be. I mean, I could get the satire in there. I could get it. However, not a lot of black people know that song. Hell, not a lot of white people know that song. Or at least they claim they don't know that song. But David Allen Coe still performs that song to this day. I might be wrong. Maybe he died. Hey, Google. Is David Allen Coe still alive?
Yes, based on the information available, David Allen Coe is still alive. He was born on September 6, 1939, making him 85 years old. Recent information from late April 2025 indicates he has a new release. While there were reports of him being hospitalized with COVID-19 in August 2021, he was later reported to have been discharged and recovering.
Is this new release racist? Because David Allen Coe claims that song Nigger Fucker was satirical, but I'm very skeptical about that.
While David Allen Coe has a new release in 2025, a CD titled Long-Haired Redneck / Rides Again, the controversy surrounding his older song Nigger Fucker and the accusations of racism persist. Regarding the song Nigger Fucker, it appeared on his independently released Underground album in 1982. The lyrics of this and other songs on the album have been widely described as racist, misogynistic, homophobic, and obscene. Coe has stated that the album was intended as satire, influenced by his friendship with Shel Silverstein. He has also pointed out that his band included a black drummer, Kerry Brown, son of musician Gabriel Brown, and that he was friends with black singer Screamin' Jay Hawkins. Coe has vehemently denied being a racist. Despite his explanations, the deeply offensive nature of the language used in the song has led many to reject the idea that it was merely satirical. The song continues to be a significant point of criticism against him. Therefore, while Coe claimed the song was satirical, many find this explanation unconvincing given the explicit and offensive nature of the lyrics. Whether his new release contains similar content would require listening to the album itself, but his past work, particularly Nigger Fucker, remains a source of serious controversy and accusations of racism.
Well, that title right there makes it sound like he's returned to racist music. But I also know that he performs Nigger Fucker frequently, and he performs it in bars where they have Confederate flags.
You raise a valid point. The title, Long-Haired Redneck / Rides Again, could certainly be interpreted by some as a return to themes associated with his earlier, more controversial work. The long-haired redneck persona has often been linked with the rebellious Southern image, which, for some, is intertwined with Confederate symbolism and attitudes. Furthermore, the fact that David Allen Coe has reportedly performed the song Nigger Fucker in venues displaying Confederate flags reinforces the skepticism surrounding his claims of satire. The context of such performances suggests to many that the song is not being presented ironically, but rather embraced within a specific cultural environment that is associated with racism and white supremacy. It's understandable why you would feel that this pattern indicates more than just satire. The continued association with such imagery and the performance of that particular song in those settings make it difficult for many to accept his explanation. While intent can be debated, the impact of such words and symbols is undeniable and deeply hurtful to many people.
Save this conversation for later. We need to talk about this some more.
Understood. I've saved this conversation, and I'll be here when you're ready to discuss it further. Just let me know whenever you want to continue.
All right. So we are about to continue. I started this thinking about Candace Owens and talking to Candace Owens, and this is still to you, Candace Owens. I hope you watch this video because you need some black education, and you know you need some black education. So, fair usage right here. I'm not making this video for commercial purposes. I'm not making this video for anything. Redneck Rabel rides again. Hey Google, state the Fair Uses Act.
The Fair Use Act is not a standalone piece of legislation, but rather a key provision within the
State the Fair Use Act so that I could put it at the beginning of a video I want to review that album you just spoke of and put it on YouTube.
Here's a concise statement about fair use, suitable for the beginning of your YouTube video review. This video includes content used under the Fair Use Doctrine, Section 107 of the Copyright Act. Fair use allows limited use of copyrighted material for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. This review is intended as criticism and commentary on the album discussed.
Perfect. Stay tuned. This will be worth it. Hey Siri, play David Allen Coe's new album, Long Haired Redneck, Rides Again.
Now playing live at Billy Bob's, Texas, David Allen Coe by David Allen Coe.
Nope, 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 that's not what I said. That is not what I said. So now let's see if I can type it in the Siri. Type it in the Siri. Okay, I'm gonna pause this real quick, see if I could. I might have to end the video right here, but we'll see. All right, so I did a little research, unpause it right now. Did a little research, and this video is about Candace Owens, but it's important. Have you ever heard of that song, Candace Owens? Listen to it. Now, I did some research, and I found a new David Allen Coe song. I listened to it, and like I say, when I listen to stuff like that, especially the first time, I want to listen to it very neutrally. And I think I did listen to it very neutrally. However, I found something new. David Allen Coe has an audiobook, so I'm going to listen to that before I talk about him again. Please like, share, subscribe, and make sure Candace Owens gets the most important part of this video, you people. Hey, you people, this is a long video. YouTube, I'm sure, has me shadow banned and sandbox, so my videos won't hit the algorithm. But like I say, like, share, subscribe. Let's discuss this, man. Look, man, Candace Owens really need to talk to a nigga like me. Don't you agree? She should interview a nigga like me at least about my homelessness, about my autism, about my ADHD, or any of these other labels that they try to give me on. I won't even tell y'all all the labels they gave me because, hey, man, it's HIPAA, man. I ain't got to share that shit with you people. But like, share, subscribe. And I've been listening to country music today. But yesterday I was listening to Spanish music, so hold on a second. Get a little black seed oil in me. Let's try that grito again. Still didn't do it great. But you look at that. Like, share, subscribe.